Yes, Mike. What's up, guys? Learning with Rich here. In this video, we are going to talk about on lesson how to import and edit drawing details or DWG details. So this lesson, we're going to describe how to import and edit drawing details in Revit. Okay, and then you will also learn about options and some recommended practices for importing and editing our DWG details. Okay, so as you know already, in Revit, it enables you to import details in legacy formats such as DWG file or AutoCAD file and DGN file. All right, so Revit does not internally use layers. However, it can recognize layers and enable you to edit the appearance of layers and map them to object categories. So when you import a drawing file, the layer information of the imported objects is retained. Okay? So for us to be able to understand it more clearly, so what we are going to do is let's open up a new project here. So I'm going to create a new project. I'll just use here a mechanical template and then I'll just select here OK. So let's import an AutoCAD detail here. So last time what we have imported, it's an AutoCAD model, right? So it's a 3D model. So this time around, we will be using our AutoCAD to create our DWG details. Okay, so we are talking about now on detailing and then let's try to edit that. Okay, so to import, so let's go to the insert tab. Oh, before that, before we insert our AutoCAD drawing, since we are going to use our AutoCAD drawing as a detail, so we will be using this for detailing. Best practice for that is you need to go to the View tab and then you need to create here a drafting view. Alright, so a drafting view, it's a 2D environment. Okay, so according to the definition, it creates a view showing details that are not directly associated with the building model. So when you say not directly associated with the building model, so it means any changes that you made here on the drafting view, it will only affect your drafting view and it will not affect your 3D model and vice versa. Because drafting view, this is just a 2D environment and you use this for detailing. So again, from the definition, use this tool to create unassociated view-specific details at differing view scales, coarse, medium, or fine, using 2D detailing tools such as detail lines, detail regions, detail components, insulation, uh, reference planes, dimension symbols, and text. Alright, so these are all 2D elements. So that's why, so I'm going to select here a drafting view and then I'm just going to put a name here. So let's say this is my HVAC curve detail, okay? And then I'm just going to accept here the scale 1:10. Alright, so there you go. So I now have here my drafting view. So if I go to the project browser, so I now have here the drafting view. Where are you? Okay, so it's here in coordination. And then there's the drafting view. So the reason why there is a question mark there, it's because the subdiscipline is not properly defined for this view. So if I'm going to check here the properties, let me put it here at the side. Okay. So if I'm going to check subdiscipline, you'll notice that it's blank. So that's the reason why there's a question mark here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to um, edit or I'm going to place the HVAC curve detail instead of coordination. I want to put it under mechanical HVAC. Okay, so to do that, all you have to do is to go to properties, change the discipline. click the drop down here, and then you select here modify, and then for the subdiscipline, you select here HVAC. So when you apply that, so it will now go down on the mechanical HVAC discipline subdiscipline. And notice that the coordination discipline already disappeared because we don't have any other views that is under that discipline. All right. So there you have it. So after we create our detail view, so the next thing that we are going to do is before we import our drawing, so we have this option from the insert. There's an option here, import. There's the dialog launcher. So import line weights. You can actually import the line weight of your DWG to Revit line weights. So there's the definition. So it maps pen numbers from layers of a DWG or DXF file to Revit line weights. Okay, so I'm going to select this one, click, and then you will now see this. So using the import CAD formats dialog box, so you import the required DWG file to Revit project. Okay, the imported objects are either automatically positioned or need to be manually placed with reference to the surrounding objects. So when importing a DWG file, so you can specify whether you import all the layers, only the layers that are visible to the DWG file, or selected layers, which is what I'm going to show to you later. Okay, and using this dialog box, you can map colors from DWG or DXF file to Revit line weights and save these mappings in a text file. Okay, so you can create as many text file as required and then load the required files. So as you can see here, I already created a text file here. So as you can see, the line weight that I have changed here is the line weight number 5 of the AutoCAD. So this is the AutoCAD color number. And then you can change the line weight here. For example, I changed that to 5. So I want color number 5 from the AutoCAD layering number to make it number 5 line weight here in my Revit. And then if you have other line weight settings, you can select load here, or you can also save this one by selecting save as. Okay, so now that I have selected 5 here, so I'm just going to select here OK. Alright, so the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to import now the AutoCAD drawing. Okay, so to do that, from the Insert tab, so I'm going to select the Import CAD. So let's select this one. And then let's go to our folder where we save the file. Where is that? So is it inside chapter 4? Okay, so inside the chapter 4, importing this one. So I'm going to select this, and then I'm going to make it black and white for the colors. Black and white. Okay, and then I'm going to select all layers. For the import units, let's say I'll just select millimeter. So all levels, I want all levels. And for the positioning, let me just put it at the center. It doesn't matter even if you select auto origin to origin, manual origin. So I just put it at the center. Okay, auto center to center. And notice that current view only is already selected by default, and you cannot change that. Because you are in the drafting view, you will only see this drawing inside the drafting view. Okay, this is a 2D drawing. So let's now open our project or our drawing. Okay, let me right click and then zoom to fit. There you go. So here's now our drawing. Now the next thing that we are going to do here is we are now going to edit. Okay, and also if I'm going to turn off the thin lines, it will show me the line weight. Wow, it's too heavy. Okay, I think what I'm gonna do is instead of doing this, all right, so let me just go back here and I'm going to undo the importing. So still here on the drafting view, let me re-import again. Detail curve, black and white, it mess up the units. How about I select here auto detect and let's see what happens. Right click, zoom to fit. All right, there you go. Okay, all right. So as you can see, here's now the AutoCAD drawing. So notice that the leader lines in the AutoCAD file retain their defined line weights when imported in Revit. So before importing the AutoCAD file, we also specify that the line weight 5 for elements on layer with color blue. Okay, remember that we change here the color, the line weight for color number 5, which is actually blue to 5 here. So therefore, you will notice that our steel joist, okay, our steel joist elements here and flashing in the import symbol are slightly thicker than the leader lines and much thicker than other lines, right? You see that? So this is the line weight that we have defined here. The flashing and then the steel joist. And when you import the AutoCAD drawing, you call that um, import symbol. Okay, so you call that import symbol. Okay, so every time you import an AutoCAD drawing or DWG file in your Revit, so if you hover your pointer, you call that import symbol, and then you can also see there the file name. Okay, now the next thing that we are going to do is let's check the visibility graphic overrides. Okay, so the visibility graphic overrides dialog box, which is this one, it controls the visibility of elements in different views. Okay, so using this dialog box, as you can see, if I go to the imported categories, you can specify whether to make the object categories in views visible or not. Okay, so you can also control the appearance of object categories by applying overrides to the default graphic properties. So if I'm going to expand this, you can see here all the layers on that AutoCAD drawing. Okay, and another thing, if you want to check, aside from using the visibility graphic override, so if you want to check the layer of your AutoCAD drawing, what you can do is you just select the import symbol, and then there is an option here, query. Alright, so if you select the query, you can now hover your pointer and then pick any elements in the AutoCAD drawing. So as you can see, it's being highlighted, right? So if I'm going to click this line here, so I click this flashing, so it will tells me what is that layer. So the layer is A DETL medium. Okay, A detail medium, and then you can see here the style by the block name, the type line. This is actually part of the examination if you're going to take Revit MEP or Revit Mechanical Certified Professional Examination. This is one of the question there wherein you will be asked to check the layer of a certain imported CAD file. Okay, so you have an option here if you want to delete or if you want to hide that particular layer. So let's say for example you want to hide this joist, so you can select hide in view. So it's now hidden. Now if you want to, let me just cancel the drawing. If you want to show it back again, what you can do, you just go to the visibility graphic overrides, and then you go to imported categories, expand the DWG, and then you look for that. There you go. So as you can see, it's being unchecked. So I'm now going to check it to show. Okay, and there you go. All right, so query tool, it's a very useful element because you can check the property of an AutoCAD import symbol. Okay, and another thing that you can use here is if I'm going to select again the import symbol, there's an option here, explode. You actually have two options to explode here. So partial explode and full explode. Now for the partial explode, it breaks up the import symbol into individual object blocks. Whereas a full explode here, from the word itself, it breaks the import symbol into text, curves, lines, and filled regions. So you can explode only imported drawings. Remember that I already told you that last time. Linked drawings cannot be exploded. Okay? Remember that. And there you go. So what we're going to do, let's try to edit the details here. So I'm gonna open the layers here. I'll try to delete some layers here. So let's say I do not need the layer 0 and the depth points layer. So after selecting the AutoCAD, so I'm going to select delete layers. Okay, so I don't need the 0 layer. And then after that, I also don't need the depth points. There you go. So I select both and then I select here OK. So I'm just showing you here that you can also delete layers inside the Revit. So if I'm gonna check the visibility graphic overrides, go to imported categories again. So notice that there's no 0 layer here and the depth points layer. Okay, now the next thing that I'm gonna do is here in the imported categories, I'm going to hide the title block and title text in my import symbol. Okay, so to do that, I'm going to clear the identity, this one. Okay, so I know that the title block and then the title text in the import symbol is under the a detail ident. So I'm just going to clear this and then I'm going to select here OK. So it's now hidden, right? So the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to modify the line weight for lines representing the edges of the members in section. Okay, so again, to do that, let me go back again to imported categories. So I want to modify the line weights for lines representing the edge of the members in section. So that will gonna be the detail wide here. So I'm going to select this and then I override it. So you can use the override to change the property. Now for the line weight, okay, I'm gonna override it and change the line weight to 6. Okay, line weight 6. And then for the color, so let's say just to show you that you can also change. Let's say I'm gonna change that color cyan. So I select the cyan and then I'm going to select here OK. There you go. And then if you want to change the pattern, you can also do that. Okay, so you can change the pattern here. Anyway, I'm not gonna change that, so I'll just select here OK. Now the next thing that I'm gonna do is I'm going to modify the line widths for lines representing a section of steel members. Okay, so I'm going to change the line weight of the thin line here, this one, detail thin, and then I'm gonna change the line weight, let's say to 2, and then I'll just apply a color, so let's say that's red, and then I'm going to select here, OK, and then I'll select here OK again, and then OK. Let's see what happens. There you go, you see? So you're able to modify your AutoCAD drawing using the visibility graphic overrides. Okay, now what I'm gonna do is let's try to use explode. Okay, so I'm going to select the import symbol and then I'm going to select partial explode to explode the 2D data contained in the import symbol. So I'm going to select partial explode. There you go. So it's exploded again. And as you can see, it uh, removes the override that we did in the AutoCAD drawing, because this is not an AutoCAD drawing anymore. It's already an Revit elements. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the visibility graphic overrides again, and let us turn on the visibility of the identity. This is the one that we didn't that we have hide earlier. So I'm going to turn on that and then select OK. All right. And also, in our view, if you're going to select that boundary, notice that the title text is also selected because the boundary and the title text form a block, right? So if you want to completely explode the selected boundary here, so we can select full explode here. So let's select full explode. Okay, there you go. So it's now fully exploded. So what I'm gonna do is, let me select this one. All right, so this is what? So this is line style A detail white. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is, I'm going to edit this. Okay, so how to edit the style for the detail lines of the import symbol? So to do that, there is a setting that we are going to use. So from the Manage tab, you can see here additional settings, and then you can see line styles. Okay, so it creates and modify line styles. So let me select this one, and then let me expand this. This is the line styles dialog box. So let me expand the lines, and then under the lines, detail wide, this one. So I'm going to change the line weight. Okay, so I'll select here 6. There you go. And then let me change again the color. Okay, so let's say that's my magenta. So I select that, and then I select here OK, and then I select here OK. There you go. Okay, so it's now changed. So as you can see, the line weight has dramatically increased. Now the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to change the exploded AutoCAD text to a Revit standard font. Okay, so I'm going to select, let's say, this one. I click that, and then I'm going to right click and then select all the instances in my view. So select that one. So it will select all the text there. Okay, and then after that, from the type selector, oh, so from the type selector, I'm gonna go ahead and select here 1 point, let's say I want to make it 2 mm. So notice that there is no 2 mm here, but I only have 2.5 area. So to create 2 mm, I'm going to select the 2.5, and then I'm going to select edit type here. I will duplicate this. Okay, so let's duplicate and then change the name to 2 mm Arial. All right, there you go. And then make sure you change the text size here. So it's 2.5, so let's make it 2. Okay, then after that, let me now select here OK. Okay, so let us just do some few editing here. So I'm going to select this, and then let's adjust this one. There you go. Because it's overlapping, so you can modify your text like this. Okay. Top unit. All right, so where else? Okay, so all good. So all our text now is good. Now, you will notice that when you explode your AutoCAD drawing, notice that even the arrows are exploded, right? Okay, so just take note of that. So it's also exploded. Now, the next thing that I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and select this. Okay, so I'm going to select the 3 title text notes. Okay, you can hold the control to select multiple elements while clicking one by one. So I'm going to select all these 3 texts, and then Let me change that from the type selector. I'm going to select 5 mm aerial. There you go. And then I'll just click outside. Okay, now the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to, uh, where else? Let's go to the details. Let me select this hatch here. This hatch, okay, in AutoCAD we call this hatch, but in Revit, this is what we call filled region. Okay, so it's called filled region. So I'm going to select this, and then after that, I'm going to edit the property of this one. So instead of the default AutoCAD settings here, I'm going to click the drop down. So I'm going to select here. How about insulation? There's no insulation, so let me go inside the type properties. Okay, and then for the foreground fill pattern, so let's click the button here. Let's see other choices that we have here. Okay, so let's say I'm going to select insulation rigid. So I select that and then select OK. And then after that, I'll just select here OK. There you go. Okay, so I'm just showing you that you can edit that as well. You can change the property of your hatch. Okay, so basically this is how you edit your drawing. Actually, you can also use when you go to the modify. Oh, yeah, I think it's here on the modify. Yep, so here inside the modify, you can also use the modify tools that we have here. Like you can copy, you can move, you can rotate, mirror these 2D elements. Okay, so you can explore that one. So there you go. So this is how you import an AutoCAD details. So it will not affect your 3D model. Why? Because this is a 2D environment. So this is just a drafting view. So we're going to talk about drafting view later on again. Okay, so hopefully you learned something from this video. If you have any comments, questions, or suggestions, just put it at the comment section below and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Thank you for watching, guys. Have a nice day.